These are truffles, one of the most prized and delicious ingredients you can use. Usually to use it, you need this tool. You see, it shaves the truffles quite thin. That's what you want. Now there are several different uses for truffles, but on today's video, we're doing something extremely special, something that has never been done before. As just like truffles, inside of this box, there's another special ingredient, an authentic Japanese Wagyu A5 steak. Literally the best piece of meat you can buy. I mean, even in the package, you can see how well marbled this is. And yes, it comes with a certificate of authenticity. Now, Japanese people take this beef quite seriously, and on today's video, I'm combining Japan and Italy together. The first thing to do is to shave a generous amount of the truffles right on top of the steak. Let's just say the more the better. But we cannot forget about the bottom. For that, I got a baking sheet with some parchment paper and started creating a bed of truffles so that the steak can lay on top. But the good part is that it's shaved so thin, I only used 2 truffles for this steak. And as you can see, I was able to get complete coverage. Because now that this one is ready, inside of the dry ager it goes for a whole month. But I did not stop there, because if this works, I want to know the best possible way to use it. So I went ahead and shaved more truffles. But this one I set it down on a cooling rack because I'll be dehydrating the whole thing. That takes about 24 hours. As once it came out, check it out. Nicely dry, and if I grab one, even though it still looks the same, it's like a chip. Now to pulverize the whole thing. For that, I threw it into a coffee grinder, blended on high, as in the end, I'm left with this, truffle dust. This is a lot cheaper than the real truffle, so I went ahead and got another Japanese Wagyu A5. I first laid down a nice bed of truffle dust on the bottom, then I placed my steak right on top. As the next step is to get full coverage. Again, it is key to make sure that the whole thing is covered, and since this one is pulverized, it is much easier to do, not to mention quite cheaper, because once that was done, inside of the dry ager it goes for a whole month. Once the time was up, I took it out and take a look. This is our very first experimental steak. It looks like real truffles have a lot of moisture on them. So not only did they shrink, we also lost a little bit of coverage. But I can promise you one thing, friends. The smell that is coming out of this thing is phenomenal. It smells fruity, earthy, and something I've never experienced before. I was careful to make sure that I did not ruin the steak, as this is one of the most expensive videos I've ever made. And once I was done, check it out. This is the world's first Japanese Wagyu A5 truffle dry-aged steak. It smells 10 times better than it looks. Absolutely delightful. But we're not done yet, because check it out. This is our second steak. Almost nothing happened to it, and that's because the dust works extremely well. So I went ahead and started removing it little by little. This makes me feel like an archaeologist, digging for true treasure. And the more I removed the truffle dust, the better things started looking. Most importantly, it looks like the truffle penetrated deeply in there. It completely oxidized the steak, but hopefully it's going to taste phenomenal. And in order to have a true comparison, I went ahead and grabbed a fresh steak. For the seasoning, I kept it quite simple. A generous amount of salt followed by freshly ground black pepper. This better work, because if not, I will be in a very deep financial hole. And just in case these do not work very well, I went ahead and made an awesome side dish. This one is going to be real delicious. And keeping the Italy theme, it's a baked pasta that I make for my family all the time. However, not very traditional in Italy, and here's how to do it. The first thing we need is some guanciale. This is Italy's most prized meat. Cut them in small cubes. Then you want to go ahead and cook them under low heat. Nice and slow. That way you can really render that fat. In the meantime, go ahead and cook some pasta. You want to cook it following the instruction in the packaging. As that's happening, check out the guanciale. This is exactly what you want. Do not throw the fat away. This is going to become our sauce. Another important thing we need is pasta water to make the sauce. But to make this even more delicious, you need more starch on this pasta water. So I like to add a tiny bit of cornstarch. Mix that up real good, as now we need this, pecorino cheese. Now to make the sauce, it's quite simple. After cutting up the pecorino nice and small, you want to go ahead and throw everything into the blender. Blend that up real high until everything is completely pulverized. That is what you want. As now into a blender, you want to throw in that guanciale fat, followed by the pasta water, a generous amount of pecorino cheese, followed by freshly ground black pepper. Blend that up real good until everything starts becoming super smooth, because in the end you should be left with something like this. A nice, smooth, creamy sauce. It's full of cheese, flavor, and absolutely delicious. So now the sauce goes right on top of the pasta. Mix that up real good until everything is fully coated and place it right into a baking dish. Then for a crunchy element, I threw in some panko into a pan, toast them up real good until they started becoming crunchy, place them right on top of the pasta, followed by a generous amount of guanciale, and to keep it healthy, a tiny bit of chives. Now that is today's side dish. I can promise you one thing, friends, it's going to be delicious, and it will be perfect to go along with today's experiment. Talking about that, the only thing left to do is to cook these beautiful steaks. First, I'll be putting a nice, wonderful sear. Once that's done, I'll be cooking them in indirect heat until I reach an internal temperature of 135. And for that, I'll be using my wireless thermometer. As now I say, it is enough talking and it is time to grill, so let's do it.
All right, everybody, and here we got our beautiful steak with an incredible side dish. What do you guys think, gentlemen?
I think for the first time you overcooked the steak, Guga.
I know it looks like that. I know it looks like that.
Yeah, she's looking a little gray over there.
I know, it's okay. You can try to roast me, but this is what happens when you dry age Japanese Wagyu A5. It loses its pinkness. Both of these steaks were cooked to the exact same temperature as this one here.
I'm sorry, I'm still stuck on Japanese A5.
Yes, Japanese Wagyu A5 dry age with a very special ingredient. Enough talking, we got a lot to eat. You ready?
Yes.
I'm always ready.
Let's go.
Oh my God. It smells like charcoal and happiness to me.
All right, enough talking. Let's give it a try. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Oh, wow.
So good.
Let him cook.
It's always amazing.
Let him cook now.
It's never going to be bad.
Let him cook.
I know you want to say something, David. I look at David.
I said let him cook.
Those juices, incredible. The way it coats your mouth, it's an experience.
What do you think, Leo?
If you think this is gonna taste like steak, you're wrong. It has a completely different mouthfeel than any other steak before because it doesn't have a lot of thick fibers. It's so much fat. It feels softer, it feels pillowy. And then as soon as your tongue starts touching that fat, it oozes out with that nice, delicious fat that comes out of it. It's incredible.
It is rich, it is delicious, and when you get a nice, beautiful crust on it, everybody, it's life-changing. You should try this at least once in your life. Shout out to my brother Emilio from Grand Western Steaks, man. Because without you, Emilio, I wouldn't be able to afford it. He gives me the same discount he gives a lot of people, and your discount will be on the description down below, everybody, okay?
I'm gonna have to use that discount.
Yeah, I know, it's good. All right, let's go with what you guys call it overcooked, which is not, by the way.
That's medium rare?
That's medium rare, same temperature.
I'll take your word for it.
It looks like a well-done steak, Guga.
It does, it does. It's because when it's dry aged, so that happens, it's normal.
You know it's A5 when you can't tell where the fat ends and the meat begins. I don't even know where to cut.
Give me your honest opinion. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Oh, you can feel it. Oh, you can feel it immediately.
Wow, that's interesting.
It has a completely different crust too. Whatever that special ingredient is really like baked into or charred into the crust, and it has a very profound flavor.
What do you think, David?
Truffle. It's so distinct. It's such a distinct flavor. Truffle is often like really overpowering. But
Especially
with
the
this-
oils?
Yeah, exactly. But with this, it goes together so well. It just kind of like really tones down the rich beefiness of the steak and gives you that like herbally ground groundy, earthy truffleness.
It's like an extra hint of real truffle flavor versus you putting that nasty truffle oil. But when you put the real thing, I mean, if you love truffle, this is gonna be the steak of heavens for you, I promise.
I can agree to that.
Very good. So we have a lot of other people to try here in the office, but this right here is my newest creation, baked cacio e pepe, but it's not really baked. So I wanna know your honest opinion. All right, let's go. Let's dig in. You ready, Leo?
I'm a little bit nervous, Guga. Normally we have a side dish that cuts the fat.
We got a side dish here that is gonna make the fat fatter. Enough talking, let's try it. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God.
I wasn't sure if it was gonna work, everybody. That works. That works very, very well.
That works incredibly well.
Oh, yeah.
I should have brought my lactate today because this is gonna be a problem.
Oh my God, that's so good. What do you think, Leo?
I love the combination of the creamy cacio pepe sauce with that little crispy, crumbly top that you put on.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that little breadcrumbs is just on a whole nother level.
The contrast of textures is so beautiful, and then you have that meaty yet fatty guanciale that also oozes out juice similar to the Wagyu, but has a completely different flavor to it. So even though my mouth is still coated in fat, it's a different fat and it's a different experience. It's delicious.
It's that porky fat that you get from like bacon and stuff. Not the same flavor as bacon, but still that really good tasting pork fat. And it goes really well with the pasta, the cream and the breadcrumbs.
That is amazing. Highly recommend. Give it a try. You won't regret it. Now let's try the next one. So this is also truffle, but completely different. I want to know your opinion. If it's going to be better or worse. As the previous one, I actually used fresh truffle. This not fresh. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
It was very different.
Yeah.
Ooh, she's strong.
I feel like there's a way stronger truffle flavor, but it's also weird because the steak is now oozing out truffle juice from it, which it wasn't previously. That is a lot of truffle.
It's not bad. I'm not going to say it's bad at all, but it's not as good as the previous one, at least for me.
It's definitely not as overpowering as I thought it would have been. But it definitely, like Leo said, seeps into the fat, and then every time you bite, you just get like a mouthful of truffle and beef fat. I think it's towing the line of too much.
There you go, everybody. Fresh will be better. It is something that if you are a truffle lover, you should try at least once in your life, everybody, because you will be life-changing. Seriously.
Oh yeah, you gotta do it.
Shout out to my mushroom dealer. He hooks me up all the time. He did the same thing with these truffles. Go check them out. It will be on the description down below. And obviously, you guys already know my meat dealer. If you want the best steaks in the planet, check them out. They'll both be there for you. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, be sure to subscribe. We'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
I didn't know you had a mushroom dealer.
Yeah, I got dealers for everything, baby. Watch out.